So my cousins used to watch this wrestling matches and all on TV. And after that, it used to come on the TV. There was MotoGP. So I used to follow the GP and I used to move a chair upside down and hold the legs of the chair like a handle of a motorcycle, dreaming that one day I'll be riding. So in 2012, when I joined university, I started racing. My parents allowed me to race. That was like a really big thing because the mindset in Uttarakhand was either you go to army or you do engineering or medical. To go into a sport which is very extreme, my mother has always been my key support. Like she's a really strong-headed woman. There's a crazy uphill going up to 2-3 kilometers, and it is called it was all roots, big tree roots, and it is like steps you are climbing. And there was a lot of rain, so we are gushing through the monsoon, like not even monsoon, we're gushing through the storm. And I'm going on the top, and there's one more rider going. He overtakes me, and he go a little fast, and just see him going 200 feet down.
Oh my god.
And and it was like because at the end the turn was like this, so you just turned right, like pivot right. You
Oh
went
my
straight.
god.
So seeing a
Damn.
person going down, and then after 5 minutes seeing a helicopter carrying the same person on a stretcher, and you know the other helicopter carrying the bike, and you're racing through the coast still. It's a very different feeling, like you're thinking about the guy, God please save him, have mercy. At the same time you're asking for mercy for yourself too.
Welcome to the Garm Avatar Show. In today's episode, I have with me Shardul Sharma, a powerhouse in motorsports with 15 national titles and crowned overall Sajoba winner. He's a podium holder in Ace of Dirt, competed internationally, and clinched victory in the NRC. Shardul made history as the first Indian to conquer Red Bull Romaniacs and finish 14th in the X-Cross Hard Enduro Challenge in Serbia. With over 12 years of experience, he mentors aspiring talents nationwide. His precision riding has graced famous TV commercials, cementing his status as a versatile and skilled athlete. Join us as we uncover the thrilling journey of Shardul Sharma, a true icon in motorsport. Thanks for joining me, Shardul. Such a pleasure to have you on my show.
It's an honor to be on your show, Garima, as I've been a fan of you, and you also drive really well, commendable. So it's an
Thank
honor.
you. Okay, so please tell us your journey, your sporting journey, and any challenges if you faced, and what's been the best learning from your journey.
So my journey started when I was quite young, like I would be 4 or 5 years old, and my cousins used to live in a big house, so with my like family, joint family house. So my cousins used to watch this wrestling matches and all on TV. And after that, it used to come on the TV. There was MotoGP. So I used to follow the GP, and I used to move a chair upside down and hold the legs of the chair like a handle of a motorcycle, dreaming that
Oh,
one day I'll be riding.
wow.
Then, when I was in first standard, on my way to school and way back, my dad taught me how to hold the accelerator and stuff. And that's where everything started. So I used to steal my dad's motorcycle, take some laps around the house, and just park it back.
Oh, wow. What fun, what fun. Okay. So is your dad also into motorsports?
No, my dad is not into motorsports, but he had a lifestyle where he enjoyed motorcycles.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So that is where I think the love for motorcycle started. I mean, by the
Absolutely.
time, okay. So I mean, then what about your sporting journey? How did it how did you get inspired to get into motorsports?
In my teenage, I got introduced to motorcycles and I was into stunt riding. I was really fascinated with riding off road and stuff, but I didn't had any direction. From my
Oh,
childhood, like I was following Red Bull Romaniacs videos and stuff, and I always wanted to go there. So in 2012, when I joined university, I started racing. My parents allowed me to race. That was like a really big thing because the mindset in Uttarakhand was either you go to army or you do engineering or medical. To go into a sport which is very extreme, my mother has always been my key support. Like she's a really strong-headed woman, and
wow.
she pushes me to ride. So I started from Raid the Himalaya. Then I went to many races like Sajoba, Oya Motocross, Desert Storm, and then in 2016 I permanently moved to Bangalore to pursue my dreams.
Wow. So how did your parents take to that? I mean, you moving out to Bangalore because of your passion.
Earlier, it was not, to be honest, it was not that great because they were not happy about me following a dream which doesn't exist. But then slowly they understood, and I made my power of it in the sport. Like, I had huge dreams from Bangalore, thinking that Bangalore is the town where people race and stuff, but it was not as I thought. Like, it was very different. Like, it was a very small circle of racing, and there was a huge language barrier. But then I learned the language. I learned Kannada, and it was very easy for me to like gel with people and train in different terrains.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So
so one of the biggest challenges for you also was to move out of your, native place and come to Bangalore for sure.
yep. Then after that, uh, Red Bull Romaniacs was always there in my mind. Back in the mind, and I always wanted to do that. So before Red Bull Romaniacs, I did a lot of stuff training people all across the country, and I made some tracks where people used to come ride with me. And when I was not training people, I was training myself and learning more and more techniques. So in 2022, I made my mind, like in 2021, I committed to myself that I'm gonna dedicate this whole year and go to Red Bull Romaniacs. And the journey of Red Bull Romaniacs has been very emotional for me
Okay.
because it is a challenge which hasn't been taken up by any Indian. We have people who have done Dakar and different motocross, supercross races, but enduro is something which doesn't exist till now. Like the motorcycle which I ride there is not available in our market.
Oh, I mean, which one is it? I mean, what's so special about it?
It's a KTM 300
No.
and it's a two-stroke motorcycle. So the emission laws we have in India are different,
Okay.
and it's more of a sports-centric motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah. So when I went to Romania, actually, for me it was not just me racing. It was like all of us Indians racing there and performing for your country. It's a very different feeling. I started 134th, I think, and first day my position was some 36, 37. So I was just pushing as much as I can, and I had so many people supporting me, blasting with me messages and wishes and praying for me.
Wow.
So it was a wholesome journey,
Wow.
and then I finished 51st, and it was like for me crossing that finish line, seeing that that Indian flag is also hosted there. It
Amazing.
was a very pure feeling for me that moves me to race more and more.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Where does it happen, this race? Which place?
This race takes place in Romania,
At
in
Romania.
Eastern Europe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
it is the world's toughest hard enduro race.
okay. How many days does it last?
It goes on for 5 days.
Okay. Okay. And were you the only Indian participating in this?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Great. I mean, so what's been the best learning from your journey?
The best learning from my journey is that if you have a dream, you have to protect your dream, and you have to keep on doing it. Like, when I follow a quote deeply, like, when courage takes over fear, everything impossible becomes possible. So, courage is the key.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love this quote. Okay. So, I mean, are you also training? Have you been training also regularly? I mean, so will you like to, tell us something about your training days, some good habits that you follow, and about your non-training days?
So, for to be a professional athlete, there's a thing called discipline, which you need 24/7.
Yeah.
There's no overtraining, there's non-training day, training day. Every day you're training. When I'm not training on the motorcycle, I'm training on my body. When I'm not training on my body, I'm training on my mind.
Right.
Yeah, and enduro is a sport where your heartbeat goes really up, and you like I usually spend around 6.5 to 7,000 kcal of energy every day when I'm racing for 6 7 hours.
Wow.
So there are times when my the smartwatch it is clocking, it is saying 172, 180, calm down, and it is the intensity of the sport because enduro, the race, the discipline I race, hard enduro, is like doing trekking on a motorcycle on a hilltop. So it's like what we see in India, the mule route, a mule, if you know the animal.
Right.
So So it's like very sketchy and always winding going up, then really intense downhills. So it's a lot of fun.
But so what about you never feel scared or something? I mean, because I'm sure there's a lot of risk involved as well because the narrow roads and uphill and also endurance and high speeds at the same time and risky terrain. So how do you kind of deal with all that pressure and do you also overcome with fear sometimes?
So yes, I meditate a lot, and due to meditation, my mind stays very calm. So when I'm racing, when I'm on the motorcycle, I'm in a trance state.
Wow.
So at that particular moment, I'm only reacting to the motorcycle. I'm giving inputs to the bike is giving me outputs, and I'm reacting to the condition with my body. If I have to move left, right, I have to be on the top of the bike, on the bottom of the bike. So at that moment, I don't think much. When I overcome an obstacle, I say to myself, "Oh, really? You did it?" I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, okay. So you're not thinking at all about the outcome. Basically, you're living in the present. You are at the
yes.
are you present at that now at that moment, and you are kind of dealing with that situation at that time.
It is, Garima. It is, I'll share a story with you from the Romaniacs. My first Romaniac second day, there's a crazy uphill going up to 2-3 kilometers, and it is called it was all roots, big tree roots, and it is like steps you are climbing. And there was a lot of rain. So we are gushing through the monsoon, like not even monsoon, we're gushing through the storm. And I'm going on the top, and there's one more rider going. He overtakes me and he go a little fast, and just see him going 200 feet down.
Oh my God.
And the and it was like, because at the end the turn was like this, so you just turn right, like a pivot right. He
Oh
went
my
straight.
God.
So
Damn.
seeing a person going down, and then after 5 minutes seeing a helicopter carrying the same person on a stretcher, and you know the other helicopter carrying the bike, and you're racing through the coast still. It's a very different feeling, like you're thinking about the guy, God please save him, have mercy, and at the same time you're asking for mercy for yourself too. So
Right.
yes, it is an extreme sport.
Yes. That's great. So yeah, I can totally understand. I mean, I'm into motorsports myself, but riding on a bike is even more challenging, I'm sure, and requires even better fitness than I'm sure. I mean, because so yeah, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was saying, for me, I look at sports like, when you want to perform at the A class, like when you always want to perform at the top, every sport is similar. It's just the mindset which we bring in.
That's true. That's true. But still, do you think? I mean, since you're kind of riding on a bike, you require a slight. I mean, you can't be like, for example, I've seen so many rally drivers. They're not even fit, but they still rally. I mean, but I don't think so. Any unfit guy can kind of do such kind of endurance motorbike racing or something.
So coming to the fitness part of it, the fitness of enduro racing is like that you need to have a body who is capable to take the beating for 6 to 8 hours
Right.
at a very low supply of food. Like we don't have time to have proper food meals.
Oh my
So
God.
the whole
Like how long durations you are not able to eat or something? I mean, like,
So we have a total break of 20 minutes in the day, and the total order, the kilometers on the trail would be some 100 kilometers. But it takes good 6 to 8 hours to complete that 100 kilometers.
oh, so
So
those 6 to 8 hours you hardly get 20 minutes to eat.
yeah, and it is not like rally. In rally, when we finish a stage, we can fuel, we can relax a bit.
Yeah.
But in enduro, the fuel is given by the organizer. So when you're fueling, also the time is running. So you just fuel as fast as you can. You pick a water bottle, you drink it, and then you just go into the track again. Like
Wow.
there's not much of breaks. So you need to train in a way that you can have a lot of core strength, where you can have a long time of endurance,
Right.
as well as you need a lot of flexibility, because some places you have to move the motorcycle with you, like
True.
with the engine shut. So you need
Right.
to have that power to pick the bike and move it to the left and right.
Wow. So you don't carry that water bottle with you? I mean, are you
Yeah,
not?
we do,
You
but
do.
I have to ration it for the whole day.
Right. That's true. That's true. Absolutely. And driving and riding in all kind of heat and kind of conditions. That's not even enough, I'm sure. So, okay, tell us about your best riding memory.
My best riding memory so far has been when I saw my parents. Like my, there was a race in Dehradun, my hometown, and my parents were there. My grandfather was also there to watch me race, and they were really happy, and I won that race. So seeing them, like, to have that moment that they are watching me live and winning that race, and they are like, my mom is just with a pom pom and she's like, "Come on, my boy, that's my son." So, so
Yes,
that was a feeling which I really enjoyed.
I can imagine. I'm such proud parents, and then they also have. I mean, it's some kind of sacrifice always. I think also goes in the way. I mean, they have
Absolutely,
also sacrificed a bit for your passion and your dreams, and obviously you have sacrificed also. So but I'm sure there's a lot of contribution from their end as well. So
absolutely.
God bless them. Yes. So okay. So how do you keep yourself motivated?
So for me, but to be motivated, I don't have to keep myself motivated. The
Oh,
moment I put my helmet on, I disconnect to the world. So for me, the world changes.
okay.
I might be talking in hypothetical terms, but for me, actually, the world changes color, and I have blinders on my eyes. I can't only see straight to the checkered flag. I can't see left, right. So when I'm racing, when I'm riding, when I'm training for it, I can only see the checkered flag, and I want to tear that checkered flag. I want to be the first guy to tear it.
Okay, great. So, what's the best advice you've ever got?
The best advice I've ever got is from my mentor, Mr. Dinesh Sharma. He's 72 years old and he's still a super biker, and he keeps on doing long runs here and there. And he is actually 18 years old with a lot of 50, 55 years of experience. So he taught me, that life is enough if you think it is enough. And life is never enough if you just want to keep on doing what you want to do, but in a positive sense.
So, who's your favorite athlete, and what's the biggest learning you take away from his or her career?
My favorite athlete is Cyril Despres, and Cyril Despres is a legend of enduro, rally, car rally, and he's a guy, like I really look up to. He comes from a time when there was not much of technological change, like technicalities of the motorcycle was not that different.
Okay.
In your sport in cars, there's a very big margin on the make of the car or make of the vehicle. In motorcycle, bikes are pretty similar now because the technology, the R&D has reached at the level that most of the bikes are just 1-2% different. He came from a time where the bikes were raw, and the guy used to do rally, enduro, cars, everything. And I love the way he used to train. Very simple, hitting the gym, doing outdoor mountain biking and stuff. And he's still riding, so
Gotcha.
I always followed him, and he's someone who I look up to.
Fabulous. Your favorite quotation?
So my favorite quotation is,
Uh-huh.
"When courage takes over fear, everything impossible becomes possible."
Fabulous. Okay, tell us any of your embarrassing moments.
Many.
Do you remember? Would you like to share some? One or two.
I I don't recollect much, but most of the time, like while practicing, most of my clothes were torn. Like, because if I used to get a new jeans also, I didn't have much of racing gear, so I used to just hook that jeans up and ride, and I used to always crash with a new cloth. So embarrassing moments was, I used to walk in home always torn, and my dad used to be like, "What should I do with this guy?"
Oh God. Okay. Proudest accomplishment so far?
My proudest accomplishment so far is yet to come, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if I would like to scale it, I would say Red Bull Romaniacs, because after Red Bull Romaniacs, when I entered Red Bull Romaniacs, I also had a belief that can we do it or not, we as Indians. And after I did it, I see a lot of aspiring riders coming in and doing enduro and trying it out, and people meeting me and saying, "Thank you for building the bridge." So I feel we Indians have a lot of potential in every sport,
Yeah.
and especially in motorsports too, because we are blessed with a lot of terrain, whatever terrain we want to ride on, train on. So I think Red Bull Romaniacs was that stepping stone for me, where I was able to prove my talent, and I'm committed to do it more and more times till we bring that podium to our country.
Fabulous. So, what according to you is a winning mindset?
According to me, a winning mindset is a mindset which cannot be changed. You choose one of your like goals in life are different, and goals in a sport is different. So in sport, you set up a mark. You say, I want to go to Dakar. You say, I want to go to Romaniacs. Or you say, you want to go to MotoGP. So you commit to that and you never look back then. You have to always be looking at the end now. It should be
Yeah.
like that. There should be tunnel vision, nothing on left and right.
And complete focus.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is what. Yeah. Fabulous. Yeah, totally. Okay, what's a message to the upcoming young athletes?
my message to the upcoming young athlete is that always believe in your dreams. One. Second, train today more so that you don't cry in the race tomorrow. It's better to be prepared. There are races when I've participated in races, and I never had any mental pressure because I knew inside me. I had this feeling inside me. My gut told me that you are here to attend this race and be on the podium. So when you train well, you know what gonna be the outcome. So a lot of our coming riders think that they'll perform at the race and they miss out on the training part, on the practice part. I feel when you practice well, when you train well, just attend the race to achieve that podium.
Hmm. True, true, true. Totally. Bang on. Okay. So thanks so much. With this, we come to the end of the show. Thank you, Shadul, for joining me in this absolutely amazing session.
Thank you so much, Garima. Once again, it's an honor to be with you. Keep riding, keep making us proud. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you all for listening to today's episode with your host Garma Aftar. See you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.